What's going on, everyone? Meteorologist Mike Linden coming at you live from the MyRadar studio here in Orlando, Florida. Let's waste no time and jump right in to today's severe weather threat. I've got the MyRadar app right now centered over the Texas-Louisiana border, and I've got the per station radar feature turned on, and we are using the Lake Charles radar. We're going to look right here at this tornado warned storm that is in effect until 11:15 Eastern time. Bear in mind, I'm here in Orlando. This is Central Time, but it is displaying it as such. So we've got another 5 minutes to go on that tornado warning. But what I'm going to do here is tap on the little crosshair button on the right, which enables you to switch up what we're looking at here. Right now, composite reflectivity. Let's take a look at velocity. And this is going to give us a good idea whether or not we're seeing any spin in the atmosphere. And boy, there is spin right there, right on top of Deweyville. This is a tornado emergency for the people that live in Deweyville. It is a confirmed tornado on the ground from the folks in and along the Texas-Louisiana border. Now, green represents winds going toward the radar site. Red representing winds going away from the radar site. So when you see that, that couplet, as it's called, that is really showing us the rotation that is present in the atmosphere. And of course, that is a telltale sign of the formation of a funnel cloud and potentially a tornado as well. What we're going to do next is we're going to switch over to the correlation coefficient. This is a brand new product that we have available in the MyRadar app. And really what this is showing you, I know it looks like a big mess, but really what you want to look out for are the abnormalities within the red there, that being the blue color. That is essentially showing us objects that are being lofted vertically into the air. In this sense, you would be looking at what could be a debris ball. And what a debris ball is essentially, as a tornado is strong enough, it picks up really items that it is strong enough to pick up and loft into the atmosphere. And that is what you are seeing returned on the correlation coefficient product. So this would mean that this tornado, I should say, has a small debris ball. There it is. I'll try to follow it along there. You can see items getting lofted kind of out ahead of that main line right there. But right there, as we pause it, let me pause it for you. Right there. Right there. See that? That is very likely the debris ball here. And even though this tornado warning does expire in 3 minutes, more than likely we will see this extended out further. Further and farther, I should say. So let's keep this moving. We'll switch back to the composite reflectivity. Now, need I remind you, Damien, if you want to switch over to this graphic once it's up, there it is, that today is an enhanced risk day for this part of the United States, this portion of the U.S., I should say. That does include Texas and portions of Louisiana as well. Houston is not included in the enhanced risk, but is still under a slight risk. Bear in mind, that's the location of the World Series, so a lot of people in town to watch I believe it's the Astros and the Atlanta Braves. So messy weather, and I can't recall whether or not, is it Minute Maid Field where the Astros play? If there's a roof, either way, weather like this would very likely delay the game. Good news is that this is for right now into the afternoon, but this is still weather to take very, very seriously. An enhanced risk, a 3 out of 5 from the Storm Prediction Center. In terms of what we're looking at here, isolated tornadoes, as we're seeing right now, large hail, and then the strong winds to boot. The flooding isn't so much a threat compared to the others that we may run into today, but there certainly may be some pockets of heavier rain, especially over a part of the U.S., which, when you're talking Texas, that hasn't seen a ton of rain, at least lately. But really what we're looking at today is the threat of the tornadoes as well as the strong damaging wind. So Damien, let's switch back to the app here. I'm going to zoom on out, and I want to show you just really as a whole what this event is looking like. Bear in mind, we also have another tornado warning just to the north of this. This is way up there, issued by the Shreveport office of the National Weather Service. This is for central Harrison County in northeast Texas for the next about 15 minutes or so. This is until 10:30 local time. And let's do a little digging here. What we'll do is we're going to switch over to this radar site so we get a better look at what's going on. Now, you can certainly use the high def or the classic view in MyRadar to look at this, but when you really want to dive in really deep and you really want to get a good look at really what's the inner workings of the storm, the Pro Radar pack is awesome. And again, the per station radar there right at the top to switch to. So let's do that. Let's switch over and let's take a look at the velocity and see what's going on in this cell here and see if we can pick up on any of that rotation. So you can kind of see it, right? It's really staggering to see, especially when you consider that this is a what's called a QLCS, a quasi-linear convective system. That's a lot of words. Again, QLCS, or you can just call it a squall line, meaning a group of thunderstorms that have essentially all linked together and are just making a big old mess. In fact, let me switch back to the composite reflectivity. You can see it better there. I mean, look at that line. That is essentially a wall of wind coming at these locations. Bear in mind, if I zoom out even more, look at the way that it is moving. I mean, it's not necessarily moving just straight west to east. There is some shear present in this environment, as we do have winds coming off of the Gulf of Mexico. So you have winds coming in two different directions. I mean, that's, to make it very simply, that's what shear is. We have right now winds coming from the southwest. You have winds coming from the south, therefore working against one another. We get that spin in the atmosphere, and then that could eventually turn vertical, and that is how. Very, very simplified version of what tornado genesis is. We've uploaded a video recently. Oh, Damien said he didn't have me on camera. Let me explain that again. So to make it very simple, right? We have winds coming in from one direction, winds coming in from another direction. They don't necessarily agree with one another as they're going different ways, and that's how you get that spin in the atmosphere, and that can eventually turn vertical. Okay, just making sure I'm not missing something here. We actually just uploaded a video recently with meteorologist Matt Capucci where he broke down how tornadoes are born, the anatomy of a tornado. I highly suggest you check it out. He's awesome. All right, so now let's jump back here to this tornado warning here that is in effect again for portions of central Texas there, east central Texas. And let's jump over to the velocity once again and take a look at this. Now, it's really wild that you can see that the green, right? That those are the winds coming toward the radar site, in which case that's this one right here, Shreveport. But you can see those winds coming in from the west, again, toward the radar site. Then you have red away from the radar site. And it is when you start to see right there, in fact, let me pause it for you, and we'll jog ahead just a little bit. Right there. That isn't necessarily a tornado on the ground, and which you'll read here in this warning. You see the source? Radar indicated. That's very important, especially when you consider You have emergency management officials, police on the ground, trained storm spotters on the ground. So when you see a tornado warning, it doesn't hurt to look into the verbiage of it and see what it says. Now, of course, you should take it seriously as any tornado warning, but there's a big difference between radar indicated and then, again, spotter indicated, emergency management that are trained to report those things. So again, that is right there, some rotation in it, and it is heading toward the city of Marshall there, the Harrison County Airport, also in that warning area. I think now is probably a good time to talk about this graphic. I haven't had to do this in quite a while. It's wild here in late October we're talking about this, but Damien, if you want to switch over to the graphic, I mean, just in case, if you do happen to live in the polygon, right, the area in which that shape is drawn, and there is a potential tornado warning or a tornado on the ground, if you hear tornado emergency, you need to get to the centralmost location of your home. If you don't have a basement, that's okay. I live in Florida. No one has basements here because of how high the water table is, but you can still be protected from a tornado. You want to get to the centralmost location of your home. That could be a hallway, a bathroom, a crawl space underneath a flight of stairs. You just want to put as much house, as much wall between yourself and the outside as possible. Don't be near windows. Those can break and create a whole bunch of issues. Certainly doesn't help. It certainly doesn't hurt, I should say, as well, to wear a bicycle helmet. I know that sounds very silly, but if there is to be some damage to your home, protecting your head, your brainstem there, obviously very important. Some folks will put a mattress or some blankets over the top of themselves to shelter themselves. Again, centralmost location is going to be your best bet. If you live in a mobile home, we say this often, a mobile home becomes mobile, right? I mean, the point is to be able to move it, and Mother Nature is very good at doing that. So you want to have that safe place that you can go to if you do happen to live in a mobile home. It could be a grocery store, a community center, a storm shelter, of course, some folks have in some of these communities. So definitely something to watch out for. For sure. I mean, this is potentially life-saving information. Damien, let's jump back to the MyRadar app here. I'm going to turn on the composite reflectivity. We're going to go look just to the south here. And yeah, of course, this was extended, this tornado warning for Louisiana. This was extended. Let's take a look here at the correlation coefficient. We were just looking at this not too long ago. Again, a brand new product in the MyRadar app that will show you vertically lofted debris. I just realized I've got to change the radar site here. We were looking at Shreveport here. So now we're using Lake Charles. It's just going to take a moment to load in the data. Now, the reason for this tornado warning being extended, in fact, let's tap on it here and read a little more about it. So you can see right at the top with the MyRadar app, we put the minutes remaining in the app for you, which is very, very helpful. 24 minutes left on this particular tornado warning until 10:45 Central Time. So again, source radar indicated rotation. We have seen some video of that as well. I did retweet that earlier today. But yes, this is a tornado on the ground here. You can see that the correlation coefficient, the debris ball, is starting to weaken a little bit. Let me pause it for you there. So again, this is a product that is showing us objects being lofted vertically into the atmosphere, and that would indicate the presence of some very strong winds, a very strong updraft, I should say. And there you go. That is the bullseye right within it. Now notice as well, out ahead of that, you can see some debris there starting to get lifted, but really it's that right there, that debris ball that is visible. And that is very telling of a strong, strong tornado. So we will keep an eye on this storm here pushing through the Deweyville area. Let me zoom on out. One thing I should also mention, you have the main line off to the west here, the QLCS, that big squall line. But then out ahead of it, you have this supercell thunderstorm that's kind of operating on its own. When you have these supercells, these thunderstorms, even isolated severe storms, like these little guys popping up, it's storms that are off on their own that are often the most dangerous. They don't have to share any of their available energy with anything else. I mean, they can get up, and it's like waking up in the morning and being able to stretch, right? It feels great, right? And the storms love this, particularly in this environment. There's so much room for these storms to grow, not share their energy. Now, if they are lumped in kind of with the rest, they can still be very powerful, as we are seeing right now with this squall line. But they lack the characteristics that those isolated storms do, because they are sharing rather than hogging all the energy to themselves. Very rudimentary description there, but I hope that that makes sense. I've got the comments here pulled up, the chat. Oh my gosh, a bunch of people in the comments. So let's take a look at here. We've got some folks watching in Louisiana. Jerry, again, stay safe. I'm going to center that. Let's do this. So we've got the tornado warning to the north. Again, just to reiterate one more time, this tornado warning here has got 6 more minutes here. This is for the Shreveport area, central Harrison County, in fact, in northeastern Texas. It was the Shreveport office that issued that. So we'll be watching that storm, but it's this storm here over Louisiana, near the Deweyville area, where you need to be in your safe place. Let me look at the chat here. What else we've got? We've got some people watching in Missouri. Yeah, I mean, Missouri, Jane, it will certainly be wet later tonight, but when it comes to the severe outlook, let me switch on over to that graphic. Again, Missouri, you're kind of just a general thunderstorm kind of day. That's what that light green color is. The darker green is a marginal risk, and we are seeing that now where that line, especially way up to the north, Damien, you're doing a lot of switching here, but you're doing great. If you go back to the app here, northeastern Texas here, this is the far, far, far northern tip of this line. But if I pop on the high def radar, you can see that it's much larger than that. This is a very large front. In fact, let's go to the layers menu, turn on the fronts, and you can see what's going on here. Now, this line, the dashed line, that's a good old dry line, and it's pretty typical when you see one of these dry lines, particularly when you're dealing with moisture coming in from the Gulf of Mexico. You have dry air, wet, humid air. It's the recipe for some thunderstorms. And right now you're seeing this stationary front. That's what that alternating front is when you're seeing the alternating warm front, cold front, warm front, cold front. Imagine, I like to use this example because I feel like it makes a lot of sense. If you watch football, right, you have the offensive and defensive line that when the ball's hiked, they are jockeying for position, right? They are constantly battling against one another. Now, eventually, one of those lines is going to win. In this sense, it's the cold front. It's always the cold front. But that is what is happening right now, where you have these you have 2 air masses, one warm, one cooler, that are just slamming into one another and fighting over position. Now, that's going to slow things down, hence the name stationary front. It really doesn't move, but we will eventually see that cold front begin to win out and push its way eastward. But for right now, especially right here, caught between the dry line and that advancing front, is where we are seeing some nasty weather, and go figure, that is where we are seeing our 2 tornado warnings right now, here in northeastern Texas, and then once again here in Louisiana, caught between the 2 fronts. Okay, but a really messy day for a good chunk of the United States. I mean, just look at all that low pressure, all of just all that rain stretching from North Dakota all the way south, pretty much to Mexico. I mean, cutting the United States in half, really. It was just yesterday that Oklahoma and Texas dealt with their own severe weather threat. MyRadar storm chaser Aaron Jajak was on top of that. But then you have this guy. We'll jump over here really briefly here because someone mentioned it in the chat. We have our first nor'easter of the season. Wild stuff, folks. I mean, had this occurred just a month later when it was colder for the Northeast, you'd be talking about some pretty significant snow totals. But with this nor'easter, you can even see now, again, rotating counterclockwise, you can see right here, that rain there slamming into the coast, very likely bringing with it really rough surf and strong gusty winds. That's the real nasty part about a nor'easter. And really briefly here, we'll turn off the watches and warnings, turn off the fronts, and I just want to turn on the power outages layer, because earlier today nearly 500,000 people, customers I should say, were without power across New England, and it looks like even more have joined in here. You can go county by county here, particularly in particularly in Massachusetts is where we are finding the most power outages. So really, really interesting weather here in October nationwide. Just to reiterate here, so we do have more people without power. 494,000 customers without power in Massachusetts, 85,000 in Rhode Island, 12,000 in Connecticut, 11,000 in New York State. But also now, due to today's severe weather, Texas is now joining in on the fun here. Of course, I'm being sarcastic there. 85,000 outages across the state of Texas right now. So keep in mind, for folks that live out ahead of this squall line here, it is very likely that with these strong damaging winds, even with a little bit of rain, it certainly would be enough to take down some trees, maybe knock out some power lines. Certainly something to watch out for and be prepared for. Of course, I left it at home today, but I normally bring a mobile power bank in with me. I think in today's day and age, when everyone is utilizing their smartphone as in their everyday daily life, let alone to use the MyRadar app, but to be able to reach out to emergency officials, that is a line of communication that most people have, but you want to be able to keep it charged if you lose power. So one of those power banks that you can plug any USB devices into, I mean, could potentially be a lifesaver when it comes to severe weather days like today. A weather radio also, you just put it off in your house, leave it on, and that way when things are happening, if you are to lose power, you can have it has batteries to it, and it will alert you to those notifications. Of course, the MyRadar app will do exactly the same in letting you know what is coming toward you. All right, so let's jump back over here. I'm going to turn on the watches and warnings layer. Just going to take a moment to load everything up. Again, I'm going to use the Lake Charles radar here. Looks like that we have a flash flood warning over Beaumont, Texas there, which makes a lot of sense, especially when you consider that it has been raining almost all morning long. But again, this is the cell that we are, this is the storm, I should say, that we are really paying close attention to here. Let's throw on the velocity. Again, for people that are just joining us, we talked about this earlier. When you're looking at velocity as opposed to reflectivity, you want to look for the two colors, right, that you're going to see. You're going to see green, and you're going to see red. Don't pay attention to the purple. It's all good. But green is showing us winds going toward the radar site. In this instance, I am using the Lake Charles radar, okay? Okay. Red is representing winds going away from the radar site. So when you start to see this right here, that is what we call a couplet. I mean, you are really seeing that wrapping up, that rotation in the atmosphere, and that right there is a big red flag when it comes to the presence of a tornado. Maybe red flag was the best example there. It's a telltale sign, I should say, of a tornado. It's a red flag to you in terms of if you have any normal plans at that moment, because Mother Nature does not care here to mess up those plans. Here again is that rotation. We move it out ahead to where we are right now. It's going to take a moment to load in everything. And you can see, I'll just turn off the watches and warnings real quick. You can see that there is still the presence of rotation that passed right over top of Deweyville, right there. So let me pause it here. So right there. We'll have to wait and see here. Of course, anyone that tells you, if you see on social media for what it's worth, oh, an EF2 or whatever just passed through, blah, blah, blah. That's not how it works. The National Weather Service sends out survey teams to go out and survey the damage. And with that, they're able to see certain things that may have been damaged that maybe wouldn't occur in an EF0 as opposed to an EF5. Damage is really helpful in diagnosing what those wind speeds are or what they were capable of doing. So again, that is not great for the folks that live in Deweyville. That's why we talked about being in your safe place because again, that is definitely some rotation there. Now, for the folks that live in DeQuincy here, I hope I'm pronouncing that properly here. You are not in the tornado warning, but you certainly want to be thinking about where your safe place is and knowing how to enact your plan. It seems like the rotation is heading west and north of you, but again, better to take things very seriously, especially when we're talking about a tornado being on the ground. Let's jump back up here to the Shreveport radar. I want to look at this storm. I mean, it's so incredible to see that, just that straight line there from the squall line there. Again, some strong winds in this. In fact, as we're looking at that, I'm going to jump back over here. You don't need to switch it just yet here, Damien. I just want to be sure that I have the correct tools here at my disposal. Okay. All right. So again, I'm just going to stay with you folks as we are dealing with these tornado warnings. What an evening last night, of course, for the folks that live in Oklahoma, Texas, New England. And now here we are, a quite atypical tornado threat for this time of year. So you can see that that there is a little bit of rotation in there, right? Let me jog it back just a little bit right there. You can see that? It's not super strong, but it's certainly enough for the National Weather Service to issue a tornado warning. Again, this is all part of that big squall line here. And like we talked about before, these storms don't want to be part of the group. They want to be out on their own. That is how they can get nice and strong. I mean, for the folks that live in Scottsville, Marshall, Hallsville, you certainly need to be in your safe place right now. It is very likely a bit bumpy right over top of you. There is relief to the west. For the folks that live in Tyler, they can tell you that it's just rain once the main line gets past, but it is pretty messy back behind it. So let's go back down here. We're going to jump to the Lake Charles radar, because this cell is off on its own. Now, you can see the squall line behind it is starting to catch up a little bit, and that is a good thing. It's weird to say that, but it's kind of a good thing as we progress forward in this event, because you won't have that isolated supercell off on its own that is really getting nice and strong. This is a way for it to lose a little bit of that momentum. Let's switch over to the correlation coefficient just one more time here. For the folks that are just joining us, this is a brand new radar product to the MyRadar app that is available in the Pro Radar Pack upgrade. You can access it here in the per station radar, where you can switch between the different radar views, even the temp map. All you do is type on per station, pick on the radar site that you want to use, and you're good to go. Damien, if you could message Chandler and let her know that we are streaming, I would greatly appreciate it. So again, here is why we use this product. If you can message Chandler, let her know that we're streaming, Damien, that would really appreciate it. Shout out to Chandler. She's great. All right. So right here, I know it doesn't look like much. You're thinking, Mike, why are you showing us this blue dot? It's silly. It is not. This is a product that is really helpful when it comes to detecting the presence of a tornado. This will show us what's called a debris ball, which simply means debris that a tornado is lofting vertically into the atmosphere and is wrapping around that central circulation. Not good when you are talking about tornadoes, because that means that something strong was just moving through that area. Once we get into next storm season, being that this is a product that was just added to the app, I mean, I hope we don't see it, but in the same token, that if we are to see some strong tornadoes next severe weather season, you will definitely be able to see those debris balls. The good news is here that with this particular tornado, notice that debris ball kind of goes away. It is very small to begin with. So let me put this back in motion. So we've kind of lost that, which is good, and that kind of, again, goes to what I was talking about before, where if we switch back to the composite reflectivity, and for the record, you do this right here, tapping on the right-hand side. I'm using the iPad version of the app, but either way, it's on the right-hand side. You tap on that, and you can change to composite reflectivity, velocity, correlation coefficient, differential reflectivity, and you can even switch the elevation levels as well, which is really cool. So let's jump back to composite reflectivity. And again, you can see that this supercell that was once off on its own is now starting to join up with the main line off to the west, which is going to help to kind of sap that supercell of its energy a little bit. I'm trying to really make it rudimentary here, folks. No reason to get super deep here. But again, this is in effect, this tornado warning, in effect for the next, where is it there? Till 10. Where is the expiration time? There it is, 11:45. Gosh, right at the top there. So we've got another 7 minutes to go. We may very likely see this storm or the tornado warning extend off to the east, being that this storm has a history. Better to be safe than sorry on these particular days here. Okay. Sorry about that, folks. Okay, so let me jump on over to the chat. If you guys have any questions for myself, what did you say, Damien? No, we can jump over to that if you want to. I think I just have to add another radar here. Bear with me, folks. I've got to change the radars that we are using here. So I'll add Shreveport. It's going to take a moment to add it, load in. So that's why I was using the MyRadar app there, Damien. So that's just going to take a moment. But again, you can see that line right there. In fact, let's grab the stand by, folks. I am looking for the, here we go. So I can put that right on top. Okay, and we will watch that. Okay, let me jump on over to the chat here. If you guys have any questions for me, now would be a great time to get those questions in. All right, so we've got Chris watching in Oklahoma. What's up, Chris? Janice in Virginia. Okay, so someone NT in Canada. Is that? That's the Northwest Territories. That's what I thought. Man, you're way up there. Well, welcome to the stream, Judy. Shout out to Canada. Poutine is awesome. We've got Liz talking about Maine. Yeah, I mean, gosh. Real quick, we'll jump on over to the northeast. I mean, and you have the first nor'easter. Let me put the fronts layer on. Right there, you have the first nor'easter of the season that is just, man, I mean, it's trying to make a name for itself. And I'm not saying that to make a joke. I mean, it's extratropical. I mean, it's way north of the tropics, but it could be making a run here to really deepen. I'm sure you heard all about bombogenesis out on the west coast, the bomb cyclone. I mean, that's just some good buzzwords that sound fun to say, but it's scientifically very interesting. You're talking about a deepening of pressure or an intense lowering of pressure over a 24-hour period. And that's kind of what's happening here with this nor'easter off on the East Coast. It's pretty powerful for just sitting over the open Atlantic there, but you can see the bands that are swinging in as that rotates counterclockwise. So for I'm sorry, who was watching in Maine? I lost the comment here. Liz, watching in Maine. I mean, gosh, those winds coming in. Let's turn on the winds layer. Let's do that. So we've got the surface winds that I want to turn on. Just take a second to load those in, and I bet you're going to see winds coming in. There you go, from the northeast. So, absolutely, living in Maine here, Let alone some really rough surf, too. Those beaches taking a pounding right now. And Cape Cod and Martha's Vineyard, that area of Massachusetts, typically tends to get slammed by nor'easters, and that is exactly what is happening right now. You can see those strong, strong winds centered right around that center of circulation right here. But the strongest winds right now slamming in to eastern Massachusetts. In fact, let's turn the power outages layer back on, and you can see that quite a few power outages, upwards of 500,000 people plus customers, 500,000 customers without power across the northeastern seaboard, particularly right there across Massachusetts. All right, so let's turn that layer back off. I'm going to turn off the fronts, and we'll head back to here. A quick update for you. The tornado warning that was in effect for northeastern Texas, that was issued by Shreveport, Louisiana, has expired. We expected this, right? I mean, you saw the rotation just completely fizzle out. But now we are watching this guy. This is the one that passed over Deweyville not too long ago, where we did see a debris ball, and we do see on the velocity scan there is still the presence of some rotation. Let's look at it in the MyRadar app too. And yeah, you can see it. It's there. You know what? And let's switch over to, I don't think we're going to get as good of a view at this as using this radar, but we can try to get an alternate look here. Because sometimes your radar can be either too close or too far away from the area that you are looking at. So you can see that this radar, what is that for? Probably Alexandria, Louisiana. It's nearby near Simpson. That it's picking up on some of the rotation. You can see it right there. I'll pause it for you right here. So I've told the developers many times to be able to draw on the map. That would be amazing. And hey, we've got some really amazing features coming soon here, folks. It's an awesome part about this company that if you reach out to us on social media, you tell us what you like, tell us what you want out of the app. We are here for you. So we get people reaching out all the time requesting features and are asking about certain features. All I will say, we have so much exciting stuff coming. I know that sounds like a cop-out. I promise it's not. We have so much exciting stuff. I just can't really talk about it here just yet. But from the video weather side of things to the app development side of things, there's never been a better time to download MyRadar. I'm not just saying that, folks. We got some really cool stuff coming. All right, so let's switch to Lake Charles here. Now, just so I'm not going nuts here, yep, that is another tornado warning. That's what I expected. So again, typically what happens with these particular, sorry, I'm all over the place. Just shared a some wild satellite imagery on our Twitter feed from that nor'easter off the East Coast. Wild stuff. Anyway, so with this particular tornado that passed over Deweyville, being that it was a tornado confirmed on the ground, typically you see the National Weather Service extend those warnings out and out and out until they are like nearly 100% confident that the event is over. The reason for that being is that this is a rapidly changing environment where you could have the tornado touching the ground, it could then lift off the ground, and it's certainly possible for it to touch down once again. Okay, so I'm sharing some video here on Twitter. Big shout out to MyRadar Storm Chaser Aaron Jajak, who I believe is watching the stream here. And it's from a local news organization there in Beaumont that captured some video of that tornado in orange. This might have been the video that I shared earlier as well. But either way, still again, a rapidly changing environment. In fact, there's Aaron again. I'm going to retweet him. Cool. All right, so we're watching this particular cell. Let me jump back in the chat. I'm sorry I'm all over the place here, folks, but I'd rather make sure that we are covered and I am answering your questions here. We've got Sandy Rose. I'm way back in the chat, folks, so if you have questions, I will get to them here. And I think Damien is probably answering some of your questions in the chat here. We've got folks watching in Colorado. Oh, well, somebody said hello to Sandy. That wasn't you, Damien? Oh, that was you. Okay. So shout out to Sandy Rose, MyRadar superfan. We've got people asking about New England. Gosh, this was like 30 minutes ago. People talking about Tulsa, Oklahoma. So Steven saying the app on the PC, so the Windows version is acting odd. You can't look at the radar site. So Steven, again, it is an upgrade feature in the app. It is the Pro Radar Pack. So for the folks that want to know how to unlock that, you just tap on the gears wheel, and then right there on the right, Pro Radar Pack. Even if you're on iOS, if you're on Windows, if you're on Android, it will take you to where you need to go to do the upgrade. But with that, you get the per station radar, you get the hurricane tracker, you get a bunch of great stuff. Okay, what else we got here? So if you're a meteorological enthusiast, it is awesome to have. All right, we've got Brian tracking weather in his home state of Arkansas. What is it? Woo Pig Suey, right? That's the hogs there. Shout out to Sandy Rose. There she is again, popping into the comments. All right, let me go down here to the most recent ones here. So we've got someone asking for Louisiana. We are looking at Louisiana from all fronts here. And again, that's a great point. Someone is bringing up something. Let me go here. I'm going to turn on the watches. I'm going to zoom way out. See this yellow box on top of everything? That's a tornado watch that is in effect until 4 p.m. Central Time, 5 o'clock Eastern Time. This was issued, I mean, literally I was on the way to the office early this morning. This was issued, and this will remain in effect through almost the entire day. So again, a rapidly evolving situation here. And what a watch is, I think this is probably the best example. Let me zoom back in, make sure we're centered over that storm. So a great example of what a watch is versus what a warning is. If you're thinking about it in terms of baking a cake, right? A cake watch would be, we have all of the ingredients out in front of us that make a cake. It's not a cake yet, but with a little bit of work, could easily become a cake, right? A cake warning, sounds ridiculous to say, a cake warning would mean cake is done cooking. It's here now. It's time to take it out of the oven. Hence, watch warning. A watch is to get you in that mindset to make you prepared for what is potentially out there. A warning means the threat is imminent. So, again, you could use cake. I've seen cupcakes, tacos, pizza. Clearly, meteorologists are just very hungry, which I can attest to that, sure. It's kind of comical. But again, pizza watch, pizza warning, cake, doesn't matter. A watch versus a warning. We have something developing and something imminent, right? All right, what else we've got here? We've got someone in the chat here saying that local TV stations are reporting wind gusts up near 60 miles per hour. Absolutely. I mean, it says for the last 12 hours. Absolutely. I mean, these nor'easters, that particular nor'easter is deepening as it sits out there off the coast, so getting stronger. Not to mention that, I mean, it's been sitting there for a little bit now, and it's still, even though it's well off to the east, the center of circulation is way off to the east, you still have those bands slamming into the coastline. All right. We've got someone watching in Cleveland, Ohio. What's up, Diane? And then we've got some people asking about Louisiana here. So someone asking particularly Bethany, Louisiana. So let's do that. I wish I could just jump right to it, right? But I don't know where every community is. So there's Bethany for the person that is asking. So it's centered us right on top of it. So you have a severe thunderstorm warning. Let's jump to that radar here. So you, not long ago, for the person watching in Bethany, not too long ago, there was, again, that tornado warning. Right now, though, that squall line is passing right over top of you. I mean, right over top of you. The person that is watching, is it Gasha? Yeah, so you have that squall line passing right over top of you. There is a severe thunderstorm warning that is in effect for the next 37 minutes. A good reason for this being, A, 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts for one, and then B, there was a tornado-warned storm in this particular area. The rotation isn't there so much right now. I'll switch over to velocity. So we're not necessarily seeing, any kind of big areas that are jumping out to us when it comes to potential rotation. Although right there at the end, right here, it's something maybe. We'll keep an eye on it. Either way, that's the reason for a severe thunderstorm warning. That's kind of the precursor to a tornado warning. You need a severe thunderstorm to make a tornado. All right, so let's hope that answers your question. I am here for you, folks. If you have any questions, please hit me. All right, so we're jumping back to Lake Charles. We're looking at this particular storm. I'm going to stay with you here, considering that this tornado, or this storm, did produce a tornado that did touch the ground here. So I'll stay with you for a little bit longer here. Switch back over to composite reflectivity. And again, you can see that this supercell that was once off on its own, that did produce this tornado. We're still waiting to see, to get some more clarification on this. There it is. Aaron got it. Okay. Damien, if we can, no, I would have to ask, we'd have to get some permission from this person. Although, here, real quick, Damien, take the if you could take the weather graphics here, so I can grab the iPad. I will try to see if I can pull that graphic up on Twitter because we can show it. Hang on. That would be the video of that tornado. We'll just take it right from Twitter. We'll show his post and everything. So hang on. All right. So again, we're looking on the radar there. That is the area of circulation right there. Stand by here, folks. Not going to be able to stand by. All right, Damien, if you can take the iPad again. I just retweeted this on the MyRadar Twitter account. So there you go. This is retweeted from MyRadar Storm Chaser Aaron J. Jack. This is from P_Orchard WX guy. There you go. And look at the power flashes. Holy moly. And so tight. So tightly wound. Like that's not a big tornado, right? Holy moly. I mean, I'm like mesmerized by this. Sorry, folks. But you can see objects being lofted into the air, right? It's unclear whether or not this is the same tornado this has got to be it, considering that there weren't any other tornado warnings that were issued. Damien, you have this up, right? You're showing this? Okay, cool. I just want to be sure. Make sure that we're centered there. Okay, great. Wild stuff, folks. Look at that. So just to break this down a little bit more here, right? I'm going to pause the video. Can you see the debris, right? I mean, you have pieces of trees, metal, all these things flying around. That is what happens in the presence of a strong tornado, and that's where the correlation coefficient, that product I was showing you before, can help to show you helps to show you vertically lofted objects. I just want to take this like almost frame by frame here. What a nasty little tornado. Holy cow. Let's go back to the beginning. Is that a... It's hard to tell what's being lofted vertically. I mean, it's debris, right? But this is P_Orchard WX guy here on Twitter. All right, Damien, let's jump back to the weather graphics here so I can switch to the app. We're good. I'm back to the app. Okay. So now let's take a look at the correlation coefficient. I was just talking about it, right? For the folks that are just joining us, this is a brand new feature to the MyRadar app, or a brand new product, I should say, available in the MyRadar app. Correlation coefficient isn't new, but we just added it to the app. It is part of the per station radar. It is part of the Pro Radar pack that is in the per station radar layer. So when you switch to the per station radar, you tap on this little button here off to the right, the little crosshair, and you can switch to all of the products that we have available. And correlation coefficient is one of them. What this is showing us is objects being lofted vertically into the atmosphere, and that is a big indicator of the presence of a tornado. Good news is, folks, that we're really not seeing anything. This was the earlier, right? That was what was a big warning sign to folks that were watching this product right there. But then as I advance it out here, you can see that it loses a little bit of that oomph, which is good. I mean, we don't want any tornadoes touching down, folks. They're not fun. Let's switch back to velocity. And this is showing us rotation, right? This is showing us winds going in two different directions. We have green going toward the radar site, red going away from the radar site. When you start to see right there, this is earlier in the radar scan here, right there passing over Deweyville, when you start to see that wrapping up, that couplet signature, that is indication when you see a tornado warning. If I tap on this, for example, radar confirmed tornado, you have radar indicated. This would be radar indicated, but that is radar confirmed here. Let's keep advancing. So you can see that this storm is really trying to spit it out again. It's really trying to keep things going. Let's switch to this other radar site here in northern Louisiana, see if we can get another look at it. And you can see that it's trying to pick up on some of the rotation there. It might be a little too far away from the center of circulation. Let's switch back to Lake Charles here. Very soon, we'll probably have to switch it over to that Shreveport one or Simpson one. That's probably going to give us the better view. You can see right there, the polygon was just adjusted. Did you see that? So we've got another 14 minutes to go on this tornado warning. Severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located over fields moving northeast at 20 miles per hour. That's hustling, folks. Bivens, Louisiana. Was that Louisiana? I misspoke there. Yes, Louisiana. Okay. Okay. Let me jump back to the comments. Again, if you guys have any questions for me, we are live streaming right now across every platform that we have. Facebook, Twitter. Okay, let's do this now. I forgot about this. We should switch over to this. All right, let's go to the Storm Chasers layer in the MyRadar app. Let's see if we've got anyone out there right now. Oops. Don't believe that there are. We don't have any live streams going right now. Oops. So we'll switch back, per station radar, watches and warnings. We'll go back down here to Lake Charles, and we'll look at that. And that video is wild stuff, folks. I feel like we should show it again. Damien, let me switch over to it. Let's take it again. For the people that are just joining us here, Aaron J. Jack retweeted this, and I retweeted it on the MyRadar Twitter account. This is from Terrell Dean, P_Orchard WX guy. Man, I mean, that is a nasty, compact little tornado. Look at that thing. Here, I'll pause it, and I'm going to go slowly here. Power flashes as it crosses the highway. I believe that's I-10. It is Interstate 10, yep. Wild. All right, so let's jump back over to here. Again, I highly encourage you. Okay, hold on a second. People are saying in that video there's an ATV being lofted into the air. I don't see it. Is that what that is right here? Is that an ATV? Because I thought it was. It is so hard to tell, but it looks like it has wheels, right? Whatever that is. Holy moly. It's hard to tell, right? Because it clearly lands off camera. But boy, that shows you how strong Mother Nature is. Okay, people are retweeting the same thing. Yeah. Yeah, that's clearly something. I mean, it looks like folks are saying it's an ATV. Holy moly. You all see that, right? I mean, I'm not going crazy here. Bring it back. Damien, you can see that, right, on the video? I don't know why it's getting all pixely here. Yeah, it has wheels. Oh my gosh. What a video. Shout out to this person that recorded it. Holy moly. I don't know what Twitter's doing right now. It looks like it must be let me just refresh it real quick. Hey, a little plug for us, MyRadar WX. All right, let's head back to the video. Yeah, that is, wow, look at that right there in the top left corner of the video. Jeez. All right. So we're still watching. There we go. We got someone live now. Let's take it. This is Scott Peak streaming live right now. So we'll see if we can grab anything here. In fact, Damien, I'm just going to grab some water here. Okay. What a wild video, folks. That is Oh, and we have an update on the, oh my gosh, it was an ATV. Holy moly. I'm going to switch over to it. We'll have to close this. Damien, take the weather graphics here for a moment just so I can, sweet. Thank you. Just leave that up for just a moment here. Wait till you folks see this. Somebody... All right, Damien, take the iPad. Here it is, folks. You see it? There it is. It was an ATV lofted into the atmosphere, or into the air, I should say. Holy moly! Oh, Aaron found it too. Aaron must be Aaron, if you're watching, let us know. Let us know in the chat because you're right on top of it as soon as I found it. Holy cow! All right, let's jump over to we'll go to back to the MyRadar Twitter account here. Big shout out to Jump WX there. Okay, here it is, folks. I mean, here's the tornado. There's the ATV rather. There's the tornado, and you can see it in the top left there, right? Wow. And there's the, there it is. Confirmed by 12 News Now. I believe that those are the folks in Beaumont. Wow, wow, wow. What a fun, I mean, what a video, folks. That is some wild stuff. And hopefully the owner of that ATV had insurance on it because, needless to say, I don't think that thing's going to be doing much driving. Let's jump back over here to the MyRadar app. If you didn't know that this was a feature, and I'll show you how to turn it on. So in the layers menu here, the video/storm chasers layer, we have a partnership with the folks at Severe Studios. And if you turn that layer on, this isn't active all the time. And it's going to take a second to load in there. I probably should have just left it on. But you'll see storm chasers that have live feeds that are up that are chasing. And looks like we might have run into a little bit of a bug there, why it's not immediately popping back up for us. But that was Scott Peak there. Okay, we're just going to wait for that to pop back up. I've got the graphics up. Let me turn down the opacity of this warning layer here. Because it's fairly bright. Why can't I bring it down? Okay. Okay, I'm with you here, folks, until the, there he is. Took a second. So he's chasing this tornado. You've got this live, Damien? Awesome. All right, so we're just going to leave this up here. And we'll see if we're able to capture anything here right in the MyRadar app for you. I'm right here with you, folks. Don't think I'm abandoning you. Just looking over at social media. This is a rapidly evolving kind of day, right? I mean, I'm still blown away by that that ATV being lofted into the atmosphere. That's just crazy. And Scott Peak here, Storm Chaser for Severe Studios here, streaming live in the MyRadar app. Uh-oh. Did we lose his stream? Yeah, he might have, because he's right in the thick of things there. Yep, I think his stream just went down. Okay. Well, hopefully Scott is safe. I'm sure that he is. Let's go back here. We're going to tap on this tornado warning here. We've got another 2 minutes on it. So I'm curious to see whether or not they will extend it out, being that if we look at the velocity, you can see that there's still a little bit of rotation. It's not a... It's not super strong, but it is certainly there. Stand by here, folks. Just want to see what the folks at the National Weather Service are thinking right now. I'm going to look at the Shreveport office too. So, as of about 20 minutes ago, I mean, the folks at the National Weather Service saying the same thing that we are, that they are starting to see a little bit of that rotation in the storm. So we'll see here if this particular storm, or warning, I should say, is extended out. Let's look at the correlation coefficient just to see if we can see the presence of any kind of debris ball there. You can see what could possibly be some stuff being lofted. Might be the ATV, right? But nothing really jumping out on the correlation coefficient, which is good. I mean, that means that we're not dealing with something really nasty, right, at least right now. But you can definitely see on the reflectivity. I mean, just look at the sheared environment that this thing is in, where you have the winds clearly coming in from the south, and then we have this powerful front just slamming in from the west and southwest. Look at the New Orleans office too, just to see what we're dealing with here. And Baton Rouge. By the way, shout out to Louisiana. I mean, if you've never been to Louisiana, I suggest you find a way down there. It is an awesome, awesome state with some wonderful people. All right, let me jump over here. And of course, I'd be lying if I didn't say the food wasn't amazing too. Shout out to all that Cajun food. Maybe there is something to meteorologists always being hungry, relating everything back to food. All right, let's go back here. I'm looking at something off screen here. Apologies. I just want to... Okay, so this is actually very interesting here. From the National Weather Service office in New Orleans. There's something that meteorologists across the United States have access to with the National Weather Service, where it's basically like a chat room where you can see what the folks at the National Weather Service are thinking. It's a ways for National Weather Service emergency management, everybody that is involved in this effort to keep people safe, to stay in communication with one another. And this is some super interesting wording here from somebody from the National Weather Service in the New Orleans office. So it looks like they would like help with getting this message out there. So here we go. I'm just going to read it off. a lot of our southern and western areas, this is New Orleans, from the New Orleans office, but I mean, this goes for southern Louisiana, so kind of where we're looking at right now. A lot of southern and western areas still have loose debris, damage, tarps, and tents from Ida and recovery. This is something we are increasingly concerned with, and we'll be paying attention to this afternoon and evening. So interesting, right? I mean, of course, hurricane season not over officially yet, but of course, they're referring to Hurricane Ida that did hit New Orleans earlier this year. Of course, Storm Chaser Aaron Jajak was right in the eye of that thing, and of course, those people are still dealing with the aftermath of that damage. So when you're talking about storms possessing gusts of wind up near 60 miles per hour, or even tornadoes, tarps and all those little things can easily be lofted. I mean, gosh, you saw an ATV get lofted into the atmosphere. And hey, here is this tornado warning, and looks like it has gone beyond the issuance time, because I believe that it is gone now. I don't think it's just going to take a second here for the app to grab that, but I believe that the tornado warning has expired. Damien, if you want to switch over to the graphics here, so you can see that tornado warning is canceled, or is expired, I should say. Okay. So we're just going to make doubly sure before we wrap things up. I don't even know how long we've been talking, Damien. How long have we been going for? Oh, can't hear you, Damien. Yeah, so I believe that... I don't know why it's not going away there. There we go. Just some caching stuff. All right, so it is gone. All right, so I think that this is probably a good point to round things out. Damien, I hope you can still hear me if we are still live, unless I'm talking to myself. Real quick, I'll go over to the chat here, and this is how we'll say goodbye. If you guys have any questions for me, now is the time to get them in. In fact, we'll close things out. I'm going to put this video back up because I think this is probably the most ridiculous video that we are going to see today of that tornado lifting that ATV into the air. I mean, that is some wild stuff, folks. Damien, can you hear me? Are we still live? For the folks in the chat, I think I might have lost my my director. There he is. Hey, Damien's here. Okay. I was getting scared there for a second, Damien. I thought I was by myself. Okay, so I think we're gonna wrap things up, Damien, because there's no active tornado warnings. I've got this video pulled up here, and we're gonna loop it. But if you guys have any questions for me, now is the time to get them in the chat. I will try my best to answer most of them. All right, so let's. I'm just gonna jog things back a little bit. Yeah, people are saying that power flash. That is some wild stuff, right? Tim asking about the hail forecast in Kansas City. So you're kind of north of this. I mean, you'll still get that passing line. You might see some smaller hail, but anything super significant. Although I certainly don't want to rule that out for you, Tim. But you might run into some smaller hail from this squall line as it passes through. Sandy saying, wow, that looks scary. Yeah, no kidding. Indeed. All right, real quick, we'll give people the personalized forecast they're looking for. I've got to spell this. Is that someone's asking, what's up with Thibodaux, Louisiana? So for Thibodaux there, you're way out ahead of this. You're not dealing with anything here yet, but I would advise that you pay attention to local media, and of course you have the MyRadar app installed and serving you those alerts in case something does come your way. But as of right now, Julie, you are good to go. Go get some boudin balls. Rhonda, Cleburne, Texas. Claiborne. You're good to go. You are behind all this. In fact, even if I put the high def radar on, you will see that the worst is past you. Sandy, no kidding. She says, I hope no one was on that ATV at the time trying to outrun the storm. No kidding. Hopefully. I mean, hopefully that is not the case. Never a good idea to think you're going to beat Mother Nature. Really, in any facet, Mother Nature is much stronger than you know. That's why you got to take these things seriously. Really hope that is the case, Sandy. Great point. What else we have here? Sandy, hit the like button. Love it. We love it. Hit that like button. It really helps us out. Southern Missouri? Someone is talking about? I mean, yeah, I mean, you have some nasty stuff coming your way, but it's nothing compared to what's going on right now across the southern United States. Here, I'll turn on the weather outlooks here. This is the severe weather outlooks. Down here, this bullseye, right, that orange color, that is the enhanced risk. You see it in the top right? That's the enhanced risk. Then we have slight risk. Then you have marginal risk, which does creep its way up toward Missouri. But notice this lightish green color, it's just general thunderstorms. So you are not under the same circumstances of severe weather that folks in Louisiana are dealing with right now. Okay, Richard, stay safe, love it. Taylor's watching GR level 3. You know the vibes, Taylor. If you know, you know. What else? Sandy says we've been streaming for 74 minutes. Certainly doesn't feel like it. What's up, Penny? How you guys doing? And we've got Tammy asking about Northwest Louisiana. Well, for Northwest Louisiana, it's getting bumpy right now. Very likely to be quite active for you here over the next couple of hours. Remember, this front here that you're seeing, that's a stationary front, meaning it's not moving. I mean, it gets its name from its motion, which is not a lot of it, right? It's warm air and cool air just slamming into each other, jockeying for position. But what do we know about warm fronts and cold fronts? Well, let me back that up. What do we know about warm air, right? If you ever went to summer camp or if you had a sibling and you had bunk beds, you never wanted to be the person on the top bunk because heat rises, right? It's cooler in the bottom bunk. That's the move, right? So, of course, we know that about warm air, right? It rises. Cold air, a cold front, I mean, Damien, it's really ridiculous now. This might be another video we're going to have to make here. You have a cold front coming in that gets underneath that warm air, and that warm air rides that front all the way high up into the atmosphere. I mean, that's how you get severe weather situations. It's not necessarily a warm front where you see those storms firing up. It's right ahead of that cold front because that front gets up underneath that warm air, wedges underneath it, and forces it higher. It forces it to lift. It's already doing that, being that it's warm air, but this is a little extra oomph. So that's why the cold air is always going to win in these situations. But it just goes to show you that with this stationary front, there's just a lot of moisture trapped between the front and then off to the west. That dashed line, that's a dry line. Showing you, the dividing line between some very, very dry air, which is to the west of that. But typically a dry line setup, which you don't typically see around this time of year, or at least producing things like this. That's why it's very interesting. Yeah, I mean, trapped between these two fronts. This is what you'd call the triple point, where you have the three areas that are all kind of coming together, typically wedged between, if this were to be a cold front and then a warm front out ahead of it, between the two fronts, typically right up here close to the low, is that triple point where you find some really nasty weather. Okay, I've been talking now for an hour and a half. I think that's probably going to do it. We've got a lot more weather to cover here. If we do have tornadoes that are starting to fire up here, then you will be seeing me again. We've got Erica Lopez. Oh my gosh, it is almost 12:30. Holy moly. Erica Lopez, our brand new meteorologist. You've seen a lot of her lately. She's awesome. She's going to be coming in to help with coverage, and she'll take you the rest of the way into the evening hours. Remember, I'm just going to pull it up one more time here, Damien, if you can show it here. That yellow overlay there. I'm going to turn off the fronts layer for a moment here. That yellow overlay, that is a tornado watch. We still have another 4.5 hours to go. So even though there aren't any active tornadoes right now, as we talked about before, you have all of the ingredients that are there, right? So you need to have the MyRadar app installed on your phone, on your tablet, on your PC, whatever, that is going to serve you those notifications. If you don't have the notifications turned on, go to the gears wheel in the settings menu, tap on notifications, and here you go. You can get notifications for everything you want. Now, we're going to give you the warning notifications, but if you want the tornado watch warnings or snowfall or air quality or fire or whatever, there it is for you. It's very customizable. It's one of my favorite things about the app. I'm not saying this just because I work for the company, but being able to customize what you are looking at to make the weather work for you, I think is invaluable. Whether you're wanting to go out on a run, you're tracking severe weather like we're doing right now, or you're just trying to check up on grandma to let her know the weather that is coming near her, you can save favorite locations in the app as well. So much cool stuff coming to the app. I am so excited for what the future has in store for us. And of course, through what has been an incredibly difficult and pressing 2-year period for a lot of people, let alone in America, but across the world, I hope you are staying safe, and I hope that you are staying dry right now with active weather coming your way. But again, that's probably going to do it for our stream. And yeah, I hope that you all stay safe and stay dry. I've been meteorologist Mike Linden. Be sure to follow us across all of our social media platforms. I'm pretty confident they're up on the screen right now. If not, Damien can pull them up. Again, we are everywhere nowadays: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. You might be seeing more TikTok content from us coming soon as well. And I should mention, if you are watching on YouTube, smash that like button, that thumbs up. We really appreciate it, and it just helps us get the videos out there more, so that way in situations like this, more people can see and know the weather that is coming toward them. And of course, subscribe to the channel too, and click on that notification bell. That way you know whenever we drop a new video, whenever we go live like this. And again, we really, really appreciate it. Okay, that's probably going to do it. From everybody here on the team, I have been meteorologist Mike Linden. Damien in the back, pushing the buttons, killing the game. I hope that you all stay safe and stay dry. We'll catch you back here again soon. See ya.